So let's start with a super quick revision of the first chapter of GST, that is GST in India, and introduction. Yes. Now, first of all, GST, full form Goods and Service Tax. This law had come into effect from which day? 1st July 2017. This was made applicable to whole of India. Even to Jammu and Kashmir, it was made applicable from 8th July 2017. We already know that this particular tax is a destination based consumption tax. Okay, two terms are very, very important here. First one is destination tax and the other one is a consumption based tax. Okay, destination tax, what do you mean by that? Okay, wherever the finally goods are consumed, okay, wherever, in whichever state the goods are finally consumed, the revenue of the GST is going to belong to that particular state government, right? Okay, then after that, to bring this particular GST law, now as we discussed, this was made applicable from 1st July 2017 or to Jammu and Kashmir from 8 July 2017. Obviously, the law was applicable from this day, but that does not mean that the working on this particular law started from that day, no, right? So can we say the working on this was started way back, many years back, the planning etc. had started, and then slowly and steadily this took a shape and then the law was formed. Okay, so now for this particular thing, as you already know, whenever we want to pass any particular act, at that time there should be a bill. Okay, so now for this we required a constitutional amendment. Whenever we had to bring this particular GST law, we required a constitutional amendment because earlier the powers to collect taxes, okay, either the central government had exclusive power to collect the taxes, example income tax law, or example your service tax under the old regime, okay, and then state government gave powers to the state to collect taxes, example VAT was there, and so on. Okay, so now why was this constitutional amendment required to bring this GST law? Okay, for the purpose of your GST, okay, for the purpose of GST, now we had to give powers, okay, now we had to give powers to both central as well as state to collect taxes. Okay, we had to give powers to both of them to collect the same taxes, that is your GST. For that purpose, we required the constitutional amendment. Okay, the entire thing we had discussed in our regular lectures as well as our fast track lectures. So now for this, in the year 2014, they introduced this constitution amendment bill. Okay, then the bill was passed normally in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and then after that the president gave the assent, and then the Constitution Amendment Act, okay, constitution, we are not talking about GST Act, okay, we are talking about Constitution Amendment Act was passed, and because of which it became very easy to introduce GST in India, because first we had to do amendment in our constitution. Okay, so first constitution amendment was done and then the GST laws were brought. Okay, then after that, once your constitution act was passed, it was passed in September 2016. After that, they started introducing your GST legislations. So central GST legislation was introduced. Okay, then it was introduced in Lok Sabha, then Rajya Sabha, then president assent was received. Okay, then after that, once the central law was passed, after that, states and the union territories, okay, states and the union territories, they introduced their respective laws. Okay, just like you must have heard about SGST, state GST and UT GST. So they passed their own legislations, and then it came into picture. And with effect from 1st July 2017, this GST law came into picture. Indirect taxes reform was done, and except for Jammu and Kashmir, and within a week's time, that is by 8th of July 2017, this law was even extended to Jammu and Kashmir. The entire thing is given in your book. Can you see this entire diagram, everyone? Yes. Okay. Now, which all laws came into force with this indirect taxes reform? So, your CGST Act came into picture, SGST Act came into picture, UT GST Act came into picture, and very important, that is Compensation Cess Act, or we can say GST Compensation Cess Act. This came into picture. Ma'am, why was this GST Compensation Cess Act? We'll come to that. Okay, apart from that, there were many intermittent acts which were passed. Okay, just like your whenever we want to bring any amendment, we pass this Finance Act etc. Those amendment acts came into picture. So if I talk about center, okay, then your CGST Act came into picture, IGST Act came into picture, UTGST Act came into picture, and GST Cess Act, Compensation Cess Act, these came into picture. Now talking from the state point of view. Okay, in state point of view, they said that, okay, now will the states make their own laws? So they said that yes, because now parliament has given, now the constitution has given power to center as well as the state to collect GST. So center made its law. Okay, central CGST Act, IGST Act, UTGST Act and Compensation Act. Now, even the states will make their own laws. So, now there came a bifurcation. There were states, okay, just like Maharashtra. Maharashtra made its own law. See, Maharashtra SGST Act. Okay, now what about union territories? So, within union territories, they did a bifurcation. They said that, example, Delhi. Okay, Delhi is a union territory. But Delhi said that I am a union territory. I will not go under UTGST, I will make my own legislature. Okay, so now 3 states, okay, Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu Kashmir. These three, even though these 3 were treated as union territories, they considered themselves as state and they made their own legislature. Okay, so these 3 we can call it as union territory with their own state legislature. So for the purpose of GST, they will be considered as normal state. Okay, they will be considered as normal state because they have made their own legislation, they have made their own GST legislation. Now, apart from that, Chandigarh, okay, Andaman Nicobar, then your Lakshadweep, then your Leh Ladakh, okay, Ladakh we can say, okay, then your Daman, Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and other territory. Now these will be called as union territories. I think you can see the list here, everyone. Can you see this? Okay, in the main lecture I told you we can remember it as Call D and others. Yes, that was your abbreviation, that was your short form to remember these particular union territories. These were the union territories who did not make their own state legislations, and if they did not make their own state legislations, can I say they will be coming under the UTGST. Okay, means these rest of the union territories will be following the UTGST because they have not made their own laws. So the law which was made by the center, that will be applicable to them. Okay, then going on to the next thing, that is concept of GST. In concept of GST, basic pointers are covered. Basically, they are talking about the concept of your Goods and Service Tax Act. So they are telling that GST law is made with the purpose of like making the taxes applicable only on the value addition. Okay, making the taxes applicable only on value addition. Now at the first stage, let's talk about the entire chain from manufacturer to wholesalers to retailers to consumers. Okay, when the manufacturer is manufacturing something and he is selling, okay, at that time, can I say he's producing a particular product, at that time there will be a particular tax on sale which will be paid to the government. Okay, later, can I say after manufacturer, when the manufacturer sells it to the wholesaler will do some value addition and he will sell it to the reseller, to the retailer, we can say. Okay, whatever is the value addition, what is the profit that is added by the manufacturer, on that ultimately the tax will be paid by the wholesaler. Similarly, when the retailer is doing some value addition, profit element is getting added, and when he is selling it to the ultimate consumer, can I say he is also adding some profit? On that profit there will be some taxes. So basically what are they trying to do? They are trying to say that, okay, we are not taxing the entire selling price again. We will not tax the entire selling price again, whereas we will levy GST only on the value addition. Are you clear with this, ma'am? But how is this possible? This is possible by giving input tax credit, right? This is possible by giving credit on the taxes which is already paid. Now let's talk about wholesaler to retailer. Okay, let's talk about wholesaler to retailer. Can I say when the wholesaler is selling it to the retailer, there will be a particular selling price. On that selling price, there will be a particular output tax, the tax on sale that is payable. Okay, but has the wholesaler already paid some taxes? Yes, wholesaler has already paid some taxes at the time when he was purchasing it from the manufacturer. The taxes that he has paid at the time of manufacture, he will get the credit of the same, right? Credits are allowed, and at every level, okay, at every level we will get the credit, and therefore this amount of taxes that we have already paid at the time of purchase, this will be subtracted from my output tax, and we are responsible to pay only the balance taxes. That is the entire, lifeline, that is the lifeline of our GST. And yes, ma'am, then ultimately, who will bear the final tax? As you already know, the final tax will be borne by the ultimate consumer, who is not going to sell it further, who is going to consume it. Okay, because can we say entire value addition? Okay, at all the earlier stages, the credits were available, right? But now, who will ultimately pay it to the government? This will be ultimately paid. The amount will be ultimately borne by the consumer, because he is not going to sell it further. So can we say at that time, if he is not going to sell it further, the chain breaks there. So the final tax will be borne by the consumer. And yes, here they are trying that. There is no cascading effect of taxes. That is the entire price is not taxed, only the value added. Okay, only the profit added, only the value added at each stage, only that should be taxed. Okay, we have this example given here, you can just refer it once. Okay, now what were the deficiencies? Now what was the need? Okay, whenever a new law comes, that comes because there was some deficiency under the old laws. Now we have got some 7-8 points covered in this particular deficiencies. Now they are telling that before GST you had your state VATs. Okay, you had your central sales tax, CST law. Then you had your service tax. On goods we had VAT and CST. On services we had got our service tax. Now, what was the problem there? Now, they were telling that there were some items, okay, there were some transactions on which your VAT was also applicable, plus service tax was also applicable. Okay, so it was getting a hit. It was getting a hit of both the things. Example, restaurant. Okay, earlier when you used to go to restaurant, at that time, VAT was also applicable, plus service tax was also applicable. Okay, then there were certain items on which VAT was also applicable, plus excise duty was also applicable. That is first excise duty was applicable on a particular manufacturing, and at the same time on the value of goods, excise was applicable. Then on this total value, VAT was also applicable. Okay, then your SENVAT, credit was not available. That is your excise duty which was levied on the manufacture of goods, credit of that was not available. So can we say that was considered as our cost? Because of that, my cost went up. Okay, then there were multiple other taxes. Okay, there were multiple other taxes like luxury tax, entertainment tax, falana tax, X tax, Y tax, etc. So because of that, the credit was obviously not available. Okay, you did not get any benefit of those taxes paid. So because of that, can I say my cost increased? Yes. Acha. Then another clash was like service tax. The right to levy taxes on the services was there only with the center. That is, service tax was levied only by the center. Okay, similarly, for goods also, VAT, the power to levy VAT was there only with the state. Right, only central sales tax on certain transactions, only that was allowed to be levied by center. Otherwise, on goods, the power to levy the taxes was there only with the state. Okay, so this became a big clash between your center as well as the state. Now that problem is resolved in your GST, because in GST we just now studied, we did constitutional amendment, because of which both of them have the powers to levy the taxes. Okay, and your CST was totally opposite of GST. Okay, in CST, you know what was the logic? In CST, the logic was, it was a origin-based taxes. That is, the tax revenue will go to that particular government from where the sale started. Okay, whereas what is happening in GST? GST is a destination-based tax. Destination-based tax means the revenue is going to flow to that particular state where the goods are ultimately consumed. Right? Acha. Now, let's go to another thing. Okay, many points about GST and the framework of GST has been included here. Now, first of all, they are telling that this is the dual GST model. Okay, dual GST model means the GST will be levied simultaneously by two persons. One is by the center and the other one is by the states. Okay, then now what are the type of taxes under GST that will be levied? Okay, 4 types of taxes: CGST, SGST or UTGST, and the last one is IGST. Okay, now ma'am, which type of taxes will be levied? Okay, now whenever there is an interstate supply means from one state to another state. Okay, from one state to another state, whenever there is a sale that is happening, example, let's talk from Maharashtra to Gujarat, at that time IGST will be levied. Okay, interstate, at that time IGST, integrated GST will be levied. This is collected by the central government. Okay, this is levied also and this is collected also by the central government, and later this IGST tax will be distributed amongst the state and the center. When we talk about intrastate supply, intrastate means within the same state. Okay, when we are doing any intrastate supply, at that time, two types of taxes will be collected and levied. One is CGST, central GST, and the other one will be SGST or UTGST. Okay, SGST or UTGST. Okay, now let's say if the rate of taxes is 18% normal on any particular goods, goods or services, if the rate of taxes is 18%, then in that case 9% will be collected by way of CGST and balance 9% will be collected by SGST or UTGST. Okay, now let's say I am talking about a sale which is happening between Maharashtra to Maharashtra. At that time, CGST and SGST will be applicable. Okay, why? Because Maharashtra is not a union territory, so UTGST law will not come into picture. Okay, now let's say there is a sale which is happening from Lakshadweep to Lakshadweep. At that time, CGST and UTGST will be applicable. Why UTGST? Because it was a union territory not having its own state legislature. So at that time, we had studied that UTGST law will be applicable. Are you clear with this? Okay, let's say there is a sale happening between, Delhi to Delhi. Delhi was a union territory or a state with its own state legislature. So UTGST will not be applicable. So SGST will only be applicable. So the taxes which will be applicable from Delhi to Delhi will be CGST and SGST. Are you able to understand this, everyone? Yes, then for the purpose of simplification, for the purpose of deciding the rates of GST, they have done some classification. For goods, they have bifurcated. Now we have n number of goods getting traded in our economy, getting manufactured in our economy. So they are telling that we are going to use HSN code, okay, harmonized system of nomenclature. We are going to do the naming or numbering of the goods as per this, and based upon that, okay, on the basis of that, we are going to decide the rate of GST that will be applicable. And for services, we are going to use the concept of service accounting code, that is SAC. Okay, on the basis of SAC, what are we going to do? On the basis of SAC, we are going to divide the services and then we are going to decide the rates of GST that will be applicable. Then there was a concept of composition scheme which was introduced under your GST. Now they are telling that obviously the purpose under GST is to bring more and more people under the purview of GST. Okay, but then there are some small taxpayers also. Okay. So what they have done is they have introduced a scheme called as, we will study this in detail when we go to further chapters, but they have introduced a scheme called as composition scheme for small taxpayers, where in this particular case they are not required to maintain full-fledged details about their sale and purchases, and they are not required to follow this entire scheme of chain of credits, etc. They can pay a nominal amount of tax on their sale and that will be sufficient. Okay, but there are many terms and conditions attached to it, but yes, that we will study when we go ahead. This is given under your composition scheme. Then any person who wants to come under GST, that person has to get himself registered. Okay, so for the purpose of registration, there should be some limit. Okay, let's say today I do a sale of only rupees 5,000. Does that mean that I am liable to get myself registered under GST? No. Okay, so can I say for a particular year or in a particular year, a aggregate threshold limit of GST should be met? Right, aggregate turnover limit should be achieved. If that aggregate turnover limit is achieved, then only I become liable to get registered under GST. So for that particular purpose, we have got a separate chapter called as registration. So those threshold limits, etc., we are going to study in that chapter. Then apart from the relief that we have given to the small taxpayers under the composition scheme, now they have also introduced some exemptions. Okay, some products will be totally exempted. Okay, example, your milk. Okay, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, etc. These are totally exempted from GST. For that, we have got a different chapter called as exemptions from GST. Okay, then to regularize all these things, to make all these things online, they have introduced this website, that is GST. www.gst.gov.in. That is the common portal which is maintained. Okay, this particular website is maintained by GST and Goods and Service Tax Network, which is a Section 8 company. And this particular website, okay, if I want to get myself registered, go to the website, create login, get registered. Okay, if I want to pay the GST, go to this particular website. If I want to submit any GST returns, go to this particular website. Okay, just for the purpose of e-way bill. Okay, we will study that also. For that also, we have got a separate chapter. For the purpose of e-way bill, there is a different website called as e-way-bill-gst.gov.in, on which you can create your e-way bills and do all those things. Right? Then after that, now to maintain this particular website, can we say we will require some service providers? Okay, we will require some suvidha providers or service providers. That is nothing but your GSP. GSP stands for GST Suvidha Providers and ASP stands for Application Service Provider. We have been getting this help from TCS, Infosys, Taxman, etc., who are going to help us in maintaining this particular website. Then in between, we had somewhere studied about this Compensation Cess Act. Now what happened was earlier as we discussed now, the power to levy taxes on goods, okay, power to levy taxes on goods, like that was there only with the states. Okay, now what is happening? The power to levy taxes on goods and service tax, now this is being given to both center as well as the state. So can I say the state is going to lose out on some revenue? So to compensate the states, okay, they have come up with this particular cess called as compensation cess, which will be levied on some some such products whose sales India doesn't want to promote. Okay, example, pan masala, tobacco, and all those things. On such luxury products or such big products, the compensation cess will be levied and the revenue will be belonging to the states because they have suffered some losses because of introduction of GST, right? And the last one here, that is GST, which is the tax on both goods as well as services. Earlier we had separate taxes on goods or separate taxes on services. Now this is the particular tax which is applicable on all the goods and services except for alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Can you see this, everyone? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, this is kept totally outside the purview of GST, but yes, still state excise and VAT CST is applicable on it. Okay, and on petroleum crude, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel, petrol, diesel, etc. On this also till now there is no GST. They have told that we will notify a date. Okay, later we will notify a date from which the taxes will be levied on this particular items, but till the time GST comes on it, till that time at least central excise and VAT CST will be applicable on it. Okay, then there are some products, example, tobacco. On this particular product, central excise is also applicable plus GST is also applicable. Okay, then your drugs, OPM, Indian hemp, etc. On that also state excise is also applicable plus GST is also applicable. So these are the products which are still getting taxed double. Okay, at the time of manufacture, central excise or state excise is applicable, and at the time of sale, GST is also applicable. Okay, alcoholic liquor totally outside the purview of GST. Petroleum, diesel, natural gas, petrol, etc. On that, the GST will be applicable, but from a notified date, which will be notified later on. Are you clear with this? Okay, and because of this, can we say because of introduction of GST, many taxes have been subsumed, okay, or which have been subsumed or which have been removed, and now only GST will be applicable. Example, service tax is totally gone. Okay, VAT on some products, okay, VAT on majority of the product, we should say, that is gone. CST is gone. Then your excise duty, central excise duty, and such other taxes which were earlier applicable, now these are gone because now GST is applicable on the same. Okay, there are some taxes which are still there. Okay, the list is given here. Basic custom duty, we have discussed about each and every taxes in detail in our lectures. Okay, basic custom duty, then compensation cess, entertainment tax which is levied by the local authority, then property tax which has nothing to do with your goods and services, then stamp duty tax, etc. These are still there under your economy and these are still made applicable. right? Then after that you have the next one, that is how to utilize the input tax credit. Now ma'am, first of all, what do you mean by input tax credit? Input tax credit was the taxes which we have paid at the time of our purchases. Okay, now let's say when a wholesaler is purchasing from a manufacturer, can I say even he would have paid some taxes? Can he get the credit of the same? Can he take the benefit of the same? Can he reduce it from his output tax liability? Answer is yes. Now how to utilize this particular credit? Okay, we have done numerical examples in our main lecture. Here I am just covering, since this is a super quick revision, I am just covering the overview of the same. Now if you have paid IGST, means you have got the IGST credit. Can we use this IGST credit? Yes, first use it for the IGST liability, then use it for CGST, SGST, no problem in that. Okay, suppose if you have got CGST credit with you, CGST credit is to be first used for paying the CGST liability. Okay, then it can be used for paying IGST liability, but do not use it for SGST liability, because cross utilization of central and state GST is totally not allowed. Similarly, for SGST or UTGST, use it for the same liability, use it for SGST or UTGST respectively. Okay, then if you still have some SGST credit available with you, then use it for IGST liability plus, but please do not use it for CGST liability, right? Then seamless flow of credit, this we have already discussed. What happens in case of seamless flow of credit? Here they are telling that suppose if there is a intra-state supply, okay, intra-state supply, so can we say CGST and SGST will be charged? So this particular revenue should belong to that particular center. CGST will go to the center, SGST will go to which state? SGST will go to that state where the goods are ultimately consumed. Okay, so if I'm talking about Maharashtra to Maharashtra, so whenever there is a sale happening from Maharashtra to Maharashtra, let's say 10,900, so can we say the sale is happening from Maharashtra to Maharashtra, so this 900 will go to the center, right? This 900 will go to the center, this 900 will go to the Maharashtra state. Am I very clear with this? Okay, now later, let's say we are selling it to some other person within the same state. Okay, within the same state. At that time, this is the amount of GST that is payable. So can I say some portion? Now, first of all, at the time of paying this, can we use the old credit which is available? Yes, so we now 1080 is payable. Earlier we have already paid 900 and 900, so we will utilize it. So ultimately 180 is the amount that we are now going to pay to the government. So earlier we had paid 900 to the center and we had paid 900 to the Maharashtra state. Right, now we are additionally paying 180 to the center and 180 to the destination state, that is going to be Maharashtra only. So ultimately 1080 reaches to the government in this particular manner. Okay, later, okay, see this, here is the calculation. Later, when we are doing a interstate supply, okay, when we are doing interstate supply, now can I say at that time, suppose if first does a transaction, okay, they have taken it totally. Suppose if here they have taken the example of interstate supply. In that case, let's take first there is a intrastate supply. So can we say this will go to the center and this will go to the revenue of the first state where the goods are consumed. Okay, then when you are selling it from state 1 to state 2, now can I say the revenue should also move? The revenue should also move from one state to the another state, and at that time can we say IGST will be applicable? So this IGST can be collected and levied by only by whom? This will be collected and levied only by the center. So can we say now to pay this IGST, we can use the CGST credit and the SGST credit. So can we say revenue is moving from center to IGST, the revenue is moving, and from state also the revenue is going to move to IGST because we are going to use it for the purpose of paying the taxes. Yes, I have taken a full-fledged clear example in our main lectures. Please do refer it. Okay, so what are they trying to tell us here? As the goods move, okay, as the goods move, along with the goods, the revenue, the taxes is also going to move. Okay, ultimately it will go to, okay, see, there will be three heads. One is CGST, another one is SGST, and the other one is IGST. Okay, center is collected by the central government. State goes to that particular state government where the goods are consumed. Okay, and IGST, this is collected by the central government, but ultimately they will do their internal workings and then this will be distributed. This will be distributed between the state and the centers. Are you clear with this? Yes. Please do refer this particular calculation which I had done in the main lectures. That was very, very simple to understand the entire concept. Okay. Then after this, now going on to the next one, that is your benefits of GST. Okay, in benefits of GST, as the government also says, as we already know, there are many benefits given here. Now, first of all, can we say because of GST, because of the credit, seamless credits that is available, because of so many taxes being subsumed under GST and only one tax, one nation, one tax, that is the motive of the government. So because of this, can we say there is a unified market? Okay, there is a unified national market that is being created here. Okay, more and more people are now doing manufacturing here in India, even because of that Make in India initiative. Yes, and because of this, can we say more and more money is getting invested here in India, which is boosting the economy also, which is creating so many employment opportunities also, right? Then after that, because of one tax, okay, because now so many taxes have gone and only one tax is applicable, so it becomes easy even from the taxation point of view. Okay, it becomes easy from taxation point of view, it becomes easy from tax administration point of view also. Okay, can we say even cost have started reducing? Okay, if credits are available, then it will also impact my cost, right? It will also reduce my cost. Okay, then this entire GST thing is now made online. You have to file all the returns online, you have to make the payment of taxes online, etc. Because of that, because of information technology usage, everything has become automated. Okay, if I show it as my sales, then it automatically gets reflected as your purchases. Okay, we have gone to that level of automation, and what all things they are planning, we can't even think of it. Okay, right? Then because of that, because of things getting online, because of things getting simpler, can we say many of the clients or many of the persons, taxpayers, etc., they have started doing the work on their own also. Because of that, can I say our compliance cost also gets reduced, right? Acha. Now, because of this, our industries are getting boosted. Okay, agriculture industry is getting boosted. Then from primary to tertiary, all the sectors, or primary to the final service sector, all the sectors are getting a boost because of that. Okay, cascading effect is totally gone, or almost gone, we can say. Right, even that is an advantage. Because of that, the cost get reduces. If the cost get reduces, can we say it helps in controlling the inflation also? Yes, and then because of these schemes, because of these composition scheme, exemption scheme, we are even able to extend the benefits of GST to small traders and entrepreneurs also. Are you able to understand this? These are some of the benefits of the GST. And now going on to the last one, that is your constitutional provisions. Now, as we know that India is a democratic country where there is a three-tier federal structure. Okay, first one is comprising of the union government, next one is comprising of the state government, and the third one is comprising of the local government, that is our local municipal corporations, etc. Now, the power to levy the taxes, okay, power to levy the taxes is given to all the governments. Okay, I can give you example. Okay, I can give you the example. Central government has got the sole power to collect income taxes. When we talk about state government, okay, when we talk about state government has the power to levy taxes like profession tax, etc. Okay, then local government collects its local body taxes. So power has been given to respectively each of them to collect the taxes, that is as per the Indian constitution. Okay, but same tax was not allowed to be collected by two of them together, because of which we had to do this constitutional amendment under GST. Because what happened in case of GST was same GST can be collected by the center as well as the state. Okay, then now we have got references of few articles out of our constitution. Let's see what do they talk about. Article number 265. Okay, what does article number 265 talk about? Article number 265 says that no taxes can be collected except with the authority of law. Obviously, okay, I cannot levy any XYZ taxes on any particular customer. Let's say I'm providing my video lectures. At the time of providing my video lectures, I'm collecting GST. That is okay. That is as per the authority. Okay, I also start collecting something called as Arpita tax. Allowed or not allowed? That is not allowed. So I can collect anything, but only I can collect any taxes, but only when it is as per the authority. right? Acha, then article number 245, this is a very clear article which says that parliament has the power to make law for the entire country. Okay, whereas state legislature of a state can make laws only for its state. Okay, this is already given. Ma'am, why are you teaching us this? These are the articles which is given in our constitution. Okay, and your ICI wants you to know about these particular articles so that you will understand why GST law. Right, then article number 246, which is important, it gives respective authority to the union and state governments for levying the taxes. Means article number 246 says that okay, union government or central government, you can collect this particular taxes. Then it says to the state government, okay, you can levy and you can collect this particular taxes. So basically, can we say if we ask to a particular state, if we ask the Maharashtra government, why are you collecting Maharashtra as GST? So it will say that I have got the powers. Okay, I have got the powers to levy and collect the taxes. Right? Acha. Now, 7th schedule to article number 246. I will tell you what is the relevance of this article under your GST. Now, 7th schedule to article number 246, in which they are telling that there are 3 lists. Okay, in our constitution, there are 3 lists. List 1 is your union list. Okay, this contains all those matters on which only central government has the right to make laws. Okay, list 1 contains all those matters on which only central government can make the decisions or it can make the laws. Example, income tax. Okay, list 2, which talks about your state list. It contains all those matters on which the decisions can be taken only by the state government. Okay, example, profession tax. Laws relating to profession tax. And the last one is your list 3, that is your concurrent list. Okay, concurrent list means it contains those matters on which central as well as the state government have the power to make laws. Can we say now GST is going to form part of this particular concurrent list? Because on this the powers under your GST, the power to levy, collect the taxes, etc. is there with both central as well as the state government. Right? Now, what was the need for constitutional amendment? I have already told you this. Because of this constitutional amendment, now we have got the powers that GST can be levied and collected by both center as well as the state. Very clear with this? Okay. Then one very important thing which is to be remembered here is when we are talking about interstate supply. Okay, interstate, from one state to another state, which tax was levied? IGST was levied. Okay, for all the provisions, okay, all the provisions relating to interstate supply, okay, that will be decided only by the parliament. Okay, that will be decided only by the parliament. Just see the second point here. Parliament has got the exclusive power to make laws. Can you see this? It has got exclusive power to make laws with respect to goods or services in case of interstate. Okay, in case of interstate, from one state to another, parliament will make the laws for the same. Parliament has given the power that we can levy and collect IGST on it. And do you recollect what are we going to do with this particular IGST? This will be ultimately shared between whom? This will be ultimately shared between the center and the state. Right? Then the next important article here is article number 279A, which talks about GST Council. Now, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of this particular GST Council? Okay, now this article 279A, this tells the president, or this gives the powers to the president to constitute a joint forum of center and state. Now, GST is a law of both center as well as state, so it gives the it says that let's constitute a forum, let's constitute a council which will include members from the center as well as member from the state, and this council, let's form this council called as GST Council. Now, what will be the work of this GST Council? The work of this GST Council will be to give recommendation to the union as well as to the state on matters regarding GST. Example, what should be the rate on the products? Okay, that is how much percentage of GST should be levied. Then which all products should be exempted, which all products should be made taxable. Okay, then we will also notify some states, okay, which were economically backward states, now which we want to bring it at par with other states. So some states will be classified as your special category states which will be given some special category of exemptions, or they some special provisions will be made applicable to them. Okay, then what will be the threshold limit for registrations, then how the IGST will be apportioned between center and the states. Now, it's not that GST Council will decide everything. Okay, GST Council will make recommendations. The work of the GST Council is to make something, make a particular, make a draft of a particular law. Okay, then present it before the union and the states, and then they will decide whether to make it applicable or not. Are you clear with this? Now, who all will be there in this constitution of GST? This you have to remember. This is a theory. Okay, this you have to remember it compulsorily. Constitution of GST. The chairperson will be the our honorable Union Finance Minister. Then it will have some members. The Union Minister of the state. This person is a notified person. Okay, Union Minister of State, who is in the charge of revenue or finance. That person will be the member from the center. Okay, and then from each state, whoever is the minister in charge of finance or taxation of each respective state, these people will come and they will be forming part of members of the GST Council. Okay, then you remember on petroleum, natural gas, ATF, etc. GST will be applicable from a notified date. So that date can be recommended by the GST Council, that from so and so date we can make the GST applicable on petrol, diesel, etc. Right? Acha, now GST Council will meet. You must have seen in news, etc. also, right? GST Council meeting is going to be held today and all those things. So for a particular meeting to be a valid meeting, can we say we should be having a quorum? That is, some minimum number of members should be present to decide on the matters. So 50% of the total number of members of GST Council should be there, so as to conduct a valid meeting. Okay, so as to conduct a valid meeting, and then that at that particular valid meeting, decisions will be taken by respective number of members as stated here. Okay, weighted average method of voting is taken up here. Okay, I have given the example in the main lecture. Okay, we have done the entire numerical example in the main lecture. Some weightage will be given to central government, some weightage will be given to the state government. Then we'll take a weighted average of it, and then we'll finally come to know. Whether the decision has been approved or not. Are you clear with this? Okay. Acha, now if you want to, that was for whatever we studied now about weighted average, that was for the decision which is taken by the GST Council. Can we do some changes in the GST Council? Can we do some changes in the chairperson or in the members of the GST Council, etc.? Yes, you can do. But for that, can we say this GST Council was formed because of an article number 279? So can we say if we want to do this thing, changes in the GST Council, then in that case, can we say again it is a constitutional amendment now? If it is a constitutional amendment, then in that case we'll have to go and take the approvals. Okay, then we'll have to take the approvals from the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and from the respective states. And by doing that, by taking the approvals from those houses and from the state legislatures, you can do the amendment here. Are you clear with this? And then finally, in your textbook, you have got something called as significant provisions of Constitution Act 2016. Okay, so the points that we have studied about GST, all those points have been incorporated here. Okay, one or two different points are there here. Yes, this point is different here, which can be tested for the purpose of MCQs here. The provisions relating to GST Council came into force on 12th September 2016, and the President constituted the GST Council on 15th September 2016. Only after that the GST law came into picture. Okay, then earlier there were certain goods which were called as declared goods of special importance. Now that concept has been totally removed, and then they are telling that from the date when the GST came into picture, from that day, for a period of 1 year, there will be some transitional provisions, because we are going from old law to new law. So there will be some provisions, there will be some ease, or there will be some convenience given to you for the purpose of smooth transitions. Okay, rest of the points which are given here in significant provisions, those we have already covered in the earlier points. Are you clear with this? Yes, this was the basics. Okay, this was the very basics of your GST in India and introduction. Yes, and one more thing which is deemed, which you should assume, is these lectures are your super quick revision, so that you just get a overview of the same. For understanding the provisions in detail, either you can go with the regular lectures, or you can even go with the fast track lectures. Okay, these lectures are applicable, or these are to be referred only when you feel like, okay, you need to revise this particular provisions, or you need to do a revision one day before the exams. Then only use these particular lectures. Yes. Okay.